Hey y'all, so welcome back to Movement Link. Today I want to talk about something that I like to talk about with people, and it's really more on the competition side of CrossFit competitions, especially when we're at the local level, but especially when we get up into the games levels and the sanctional levels. And this is specific to the sport of competing in CrossFit. So here is the scenario. We've got two athletes. Their back squat numbers, so these are all kind of world-class numbers. And as a CrossFit athlete, what they're trying to do is they're trying to become fit in everything. So let's just say that this person's, and I know this list isn't exclusive, I just jotted down some things to kind of try and get my point across here. So they have the same back squat, the same deadlift, the same Fran time, the same bench press, the same mile time, and they have vastly different snatch weights. One's 315, one's 245. 315 is absolutely elite level, especially in the CrossFit world. And the 245 is very good, but it does show that you have not spent the amount of time that this person has spent. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. And in my opinion, and this is, we always talk about training and testing and the difference between the two, and how sometimes we get things mixed up and we try and test in a way that looks like training, where the real thing we need to be testing is functionality. And in my opinion, what I like to watch, so again, this isn't anyway, you can take this a lot of different ways. This is my opinion on what I find interesting. I find it very less interesting to see people compete, especially at the world-class level, in exercises. I like to see people compete in getting work done and translating what they do in the gym out into real-world things. So the difference between these two athletes, they literally are identical except for their snatch numbers. So does that make A better than B? The answer is, I don't know, maybe and probably, because they do have more skills. So that's something we know. But we also don't know, if we continued this list, the amount of time that this person would have to spend on developing their barbell skill in a way to get this snatch number up here could be spent in other areas. So what are the trade-offs here? And if they have completely equal strength numbers across the board, then what we're looking at is this person has spent more time developing the barbell snatch than this person. So what we want to know is it worth it to do that? And again, my answer is I don't know. But that's kind of what I want to see at the elite level. I want them testing fitness, okay? And it's getting work done. It's getting as many of these things done. It's completing this task. I want to test fitness. I don't want to test training. So what we should see, that if the snatch technique, especially getting those marginal gains, is that important to fitness, what we should see is that this athlete A will compete better than athlete B and translate everything they know better than athlete B into this broad, real world, go short and hard, go long and slow, be able to take these skills that they've developed in the gym and turn them into real world functional things that matter. And the thing we got to keep in mind that is that this world-class barbell technique may be a valuable training tool to develop speed, power, coordination, and it opens up doors. But do we need to develop those marginal 5%, 1% extra poundage on these specific lifts, or would that time be better spent recovering from workouts, training in a different capacity that improves other things? So what happens is when we test at the top level and we test these barbell skills, that forces these top level athletes in the world to train these barbell skills at a high level. And what I would prefer to see is, how does training these barbell skills at the extremely high level actually transfer in to what we're all saying what fitness is? And that's what I would like to see. And then if it's truly important that you develop the top end barbell technique to make the difference between this 315 and 245 snatch, then what we should see is that should translate into more work, more functionality, more of everything. But when we're testing the exercise, all we're seeing is whose training is fitting the test. So I would like to see the test being more general and broad, and then we can really see, is it worth spending all of this extra time getting that number from 245 up to 265? Is it worth the extra time going to 285? Is it worth the extra time getting into these world-class numbers for CrossFitters? Again, Olympic weightlifting is a different sport, but is it worth getting in these world-class numbers for CrossFitters, or is it only worth getting into these world-class numbers when the competitions test the world-class numbers? And I understand CrossFit is a sport, and it's the sport of barbell and functionality and all of these things. But I would be more interested in seeing a sport that is purely on functionality. And then we can really put all these different training modalities to work. So something CrossFit did, I forget what year it was, but I thought it was extremely cool. And then at the same time, I thought it was a little mean. What they did is they invited the best obstacle course racer in the world to the CrossFit Games, let him compete, and the guy was out workout one, which, he's not a CrossFitter, so that makes sense. But what I found kind of unfair is they took this world-class athlete in his own sport, and then the first workout they had him do was rope climbs. Perfect, that's functional. It was running, and I could get the workout wrong, but it was running. But the thing I know it had was heavy, for most people, barbell snatches that you had to squat on. So now you took this world-class athlete that doesn't train CrossFit specifically. So we would put him as, maybe he's athlete B, incredible athlete, and these aren't his numbers, but anyway, incredible athlete, but hasn't taken the time to develop that barbell skill. Let him in, and we're testing the fittest on earth. And then you throw in a super technical barbell skill. So I'd like to see something less technical, like maybe a sandbag clean and jerk, something where the skills that you learn from the snatch and clean and jerk with a barbell translate so directly to the sandbag. And if you're not using the technique, you're going to be less efficient. But a sandbag is a real world implement where a barbell is not. Barbell is a training tool, and what I would like to see is, how do these training tools transfer over into functionality? And the only way we can see how that works is when the test is about functionality, and the test is not about actually testing training exercises. Hope that makes sense. This is what we try and do. We do like little in-house competitions and just for fun, things like that. And we always try and pick exercises that you don't really need the skill. It's seeing how this skill transfers over into the real world. And then we take that to see who is taking what they're actually developing and learning in the gym and making it real world. Is this improving your volleyball spike? Is this improving your ability to pick up this odd object? Is this improving your ability to get this unknown work and task done? Or is this only improving your ability to decrease benchmarks that have barbell skills? Something to think about. Talk to y'all soon.